The 2021 NFL draft class is a year into their NFL careers, and some players' careers are off to a great start, and if they continue the trajectory they're currently on, the sky is the limit for some of these players. And we saw Justin Jefferson have a 1,400-yard year in 2020 and set the rookie receiving yards record, only for his former LSU teammate Ja'Marr Chase to set a new rookie receiving yards record a year later. We also saw Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts go for over 1,000 yards as his tight end, which is insanely impressive considering the position he plays, and we will discuss both of these guys and more in today's video, and without further ado, let's begin. And we're going to start today's video with the aforementioned Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons, who, as mentioned in the intro, went for 1,000 yards as a rookie in 2021. However, his projection is not as simple as, okay, Kyle turns 22 on October 6th this year, and he was producing at a very young age, and we can pencil him in for 1,000 at minimum, and given the success he had, we can even call for a little bit of a bump and say 1,150 or 1,200. What I think is most impressive about Pitts is he had 7 receptions last year at a depth of more than 20 yards from the line of scrimmage, whereas future Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce had, I don't want to say just, but he had 4 receptions, which is about half of what Pitts had of the same depth, and Mark Andrews, who was the best receiving option on the Ravens, had 9 of those said receptions. These stats are according to PFF. And while Matt Ryan was in his prime a very good quarterback, he's not the player he once was, and Marcus Mariota currently is one of the bottom 5 or at best one of the bottom 10 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. It's very understandable for people to think the Falcons are going to be bad in 2022, and a lot of it, though certainly not all of it, let's get that clear, can be attributed to the quarterback position. From a talent perspective, I do think Kyle Pitts is right around the top 5 area, and I do believe he will be a big problem for years to come. Also, no pun intended with the big problem, given he is 6'6 and 240. Anyways, having said all of this, his projection is quite difficult, and when looking at Pitts in 2022, I tend to project a better case scenario than I do most other young tight ends, because you'd have to think in the worst case scenario here, and sorry Falcons fans, but he will surely rack up some garbage time yards and even a few touchdowns as well. And while I'm not a Marcus Mariota fan, he's not going to throw for less than 1,000 yards this year if he starts the entire season, and Pitts will be the number 1 option the Falcons have, even over rookie Drake London. So I do think Kyle ends 2022 in the 70-catch, 1,000-yard, and 6-touchdown area. And while those numbers may not look the best or truly pop off the chart, it would be insanely impressive for a tight end to start their career with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. And next up is Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had a solid rookie season as he rushed for 1,200 yards on the dot and added another 467 yards receiving, giving him nearly a 1,700 total yard rookie season. And Najee averaged less than 4 yards per carry last year, and if you take away his best game, which was a 188-yard performance against the Cleveland Browns on Monday night, Najee then averaged just 3.63 yards per carry, and the main point here is I think Najee can only go up in terms of his yards per carry. So while his rookie season was not bad by any stretch of the imagination, think of that as a base for what he can in the future, and especially from an efficiency standpoint. The Steelers' offensive line improved from last year to this year, and we all know quarterback Ben Roethlisberger did not present a ground game option for defenses to legitimately factor into the game plan or have to worry about him leaking out of the pocket and picking up an extra 10 or 15 yards. And I am a firm believer in that being just one benefit of having a more mobile quarterback. It's another weapon for defenses to try and stop. And having said all of this, I'd be surprised if Najee doesn't have another 1,200-yard rushing season and maybe even go a step further and hit 1,300 or 1,400 yards. And why couldn't he? What's stopping him? One area I do expect him to take a step back in is the receiving part of his game, as a 74 catch rookie season is very impressive and something a lot of people do not bring up. I think Najee will be in the 45 to 55 catch area this year, as Ben loved to check the ball down, and 74 completions to Najee after having just 80 receptions during his entire Alabama tenure show that. And it also kind of helped that Najee's teammates at Alabama were Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle, and Mac Jones had plenty, and Tua for that matter, had plenty of options to throw the ball to. And when the 2022 season is all said and done, I think Najee will be in the 1,275 rushing yard range on 4.2 yards per carry, along with an additional 50 receptions for 400 yards and 15 total touchdowns. And next up is Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins, who had a 100-catch, 1,000-yard rookie season, and I feel like that's kind of forgotten about within the 2021 draft class and the expectations each of those players have moving forward, and that's how good Jalen Waddle already is. With the 2021 draft class, and especially at the receiver position, it's usually, oh, well, Ja'Marr had an insane rookie season, and he did by every metric. I'm not trying to take away from that. Or if you discuss Jalen's team and the Dolphins' outlook, it's usually how they added another receiver in Tyreek Hill, or something about, is Tua that guy or is he not that guy, pal? Or Mike Gesicki is in a contract year, franchise tag, etc. The point being, you don't hear about Jalen Waddle all that often relative to other young receivers across the league. But with Jalen, this is a player who, despite not great quarterback play, was still productive as a rookie, and even with adding Tyreek Hill, there's no reason to suggest that he would not be a productive player in 2022. Sure, Tyreek is going to take some targets, but in contrast to that, defenses are going to choose one to keen in on, and if they choose to stop both Tyreek and Jalen, then most of the time you're going to be leaving an undersized linebacker one-on-one with Mike Gesicki, who presents a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses, especially with both Waddle and Tyreek on the field. So to me, no matter how you slice this, Jalen is in for a good second season. Period. The only question is, how is this going to look on the stat sheet? And we referenced this earlier with Kyle Pitts, with him having 7 catches on routes that are 20 plus yards beyond the line of scrimmage, to show why Jalen's numbers should still be pretty good. He only had 4 of those said receptions, and a staggering 62 of Jalen's 104 receptions came within 0 to 9 yards of the line of scrimmage, with an additional 19 behind the line of scrimmage. Translation: Jalen, barring injury of course, will have another 80-plus catch year, and this is admittedly nitpicking, but he averaged just 9.8 yards per reception last year, and I do think that will improve in 2022. So for Jalen this year, we're looking at a 90-catch, 1,075-yard, and 7-touchdown sophomore season. And next up is Ja'Marr Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals, who had a pretty solid rookie season, all things considered. And coming out of LSU, there was a ton of speculation of whether or not he was going to be ready after taking a year off, which team would take him, such as the Philadelphia Eagles at number 6 overall, that of course being before the Dolphins traded up to number 6, and how he would do after virtually a year of no contact or game reps. And then the preseason happened, and shout out Ja'Marr for playing with the media, for saying he can't catch the football as smoothly because of the stripes not being on the ball, and the whole 9. And in Ja'Marr's debut against the Minnesota Vikings, all he did was go for 100 yards and a touchdown, which was highlighted by a 50-yard bomb in which he burnt corner Bashaud Breeland. The rest you could say is history, as he broke the NFL rookie receiving yards record held by his former LSU teammate Justin Jefferson, and he was on a team that went to the Super Bowl, Ja'Marr of course. And Chase finished his rookie season with 81 receptions for 1,455 yards and 13 touchdowns, but now the question: what does he do in year number 2? And I don't think it's as cut and dry of an answer as natural progression, and has a 100-catch, 1,600-yard, 15-plus touchdown year, or basing it off of Justin Jefferson's second year, since he himself improved, and implied Ja'Marr will improve as well, because his former LSU teammate did. There's a few things that need to be considered, and I do think the Bengals will try and run the ball more as they have an improved offensive line. However, that's also not to say they will completely get away from the passing game or Joe Burrow won't put up numbers either. But when you break it down, 81 catches for a rookie is impressive. I'm not trying to take that away from Ja'Marr, but it equates to less than 5 receptions per game. And Ja'Marr had 8 games last year with 4 receptions or less. Quite frankly, I'd be surprised if he has that many games this year, given we saw how dominant he can be, and especially late in his rookie year. And I think Ja'Marr is in line for a 90-plus catch, 1,400-yard, 10-touchdown season in year number 2. I can't wait to see how the 2021 rookie class performs this year, as there's a lot of hype not just from the quarterback position, but from other players as well, and even players that we didn't get into in today's video. But anyways, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, now is the time I ask you to please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would truly mean the world. And until next time, as always, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.